I can watch the live.
Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to the Midlife Revolution. I'm your host, Megan Connor, and I'm coming to you live today on Saturday, September 6, 2025, from Denver, Colorado, where I'm attending CrimeCon. And as many of you know, if you've watched the channel, I've always had a little bit of trepidation about coming to CrimeCon, the concept in general. But I also, to be fair, did not know exactly what to expect. I knew a few things from looking at the website, but I was concerned that it was going to be a little strange for me. So I was grateful to find out that it is very centered on crime prevention, on honoring victims. It's victim-centric and finding missing people and solving cold cases. And I think it's actually a really great community that they've built here. I do from time to time see a t-shirt that makes me raise an eyebrow. But for the most part, the people here are just really kind, really welcoming, really enjoying my time here. And I'm learning so much. And I can't wait to share with you guys all of the cases, the new cases and old cases that I'm going to be visiting in the future on the channel. So I've also made contact with a lot of my podcaster friends. If you watched Court TV last night, Court TV was live here from CrimeCon. And I've run into Vinnie Politan 2 or 3 different times. And at one point, he did stick a microphone in my face and ask me a question about my dumb cousin. So I got a little bit into, I had a little snippet on Court TV last night, right before he aired his interview of Colby and Ray Hermosillo. So I'm excited to tell you all about what I'm learning. Hi, Tamsin, Justice Jane, Cat Lady, Georgiana, Carolyn, Eliza. And I'm joined today, hey, Elizabeth T, Deborah Kelly J. I guess I'm a CrimeCon convert, yes. Lola Z, good to see you, Lola. It's been a while. Cat Lady, thank you so much. Oh, for coffee and drinks, thanks. I need it. I bought a $4 water yesterday, so I appreciate that. I actually came up here on the floor above the main floor to get away from the crowds because there are several places you can eat here. It's a resort and a hotel, plus they have food trucks outside. And every single place had a line that was at least 30 or 40 deep. There are thousands of people here today. A lot of people apparently do just buy a one-day ticket and come only on Saturday. So they sort of pack Saturday full of all of these events. And so yesterday was not anywhere near as crowded as today. And I expect tomorrow is probably not going to be as crowded because it's kind of 2/3 of a day instead of the whole day. But it's been really fun connecting with all my other podcaster friends, meeting some new friends. And if you saw some of my posts, I got to take some pictures with some of my friends, colleagues, and heroes that I admire. So it's really been a great experience so far. I didn't expect to enjoy it this much, and it's been great. So I also am joined today by the illustrious Irish Jen. Hey there, Jen. How's it going?
Good. I'm excited.
I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have somebody to, ask me some questions because I don't know, I could just ramble on here and everybody would be bored about everything I'm talking about. By the way, I keep looking around because there are people passing by all the time. So I'll show you a little bit where I am. There's an escalator right there, and there's a hallway down there where there's sessions going on right now. And maybe when I'm done, I can show you the main floor over the railing there. So that's why I keep looking around, because I'm just aware of my surroundings.
Well,
not that I'm paranoid.
I want to hear all the skinny on, take us through it virtually. What is it like on the show floor? Are there classes and breakout sessions, or how does it work?
It's so for people who've never been to a convention before, if you've been to a convention before, it's just like pretty much any other convention with a different theme. But if you've never been to one before, this resort, it's the Gaylord Resort and Convention Center. It is a huge, massive hotel. They also have, in addition to having all this convention center space, there is also a huge water park recreation area. My Uber driver this morning was telling me that at Christmas time, they have an ice skating rink out there. They have sledding. You know, they just do a whole huge Christmas extravaganza here. And so there's the hotel over on that side, restaurants and everything you'd expect on this side of the convention center. So there's a big floor on the convention center floor with lots of different rooms. You know, the main session rooms are huge. They're probably, you can fit at least 1,000 people in there, I'm guessing.
Oh, wow.
Smaller, they're 200 to 300. And the sessions I've been to have been completely packed both days.
Okay. What are some of them about?
Well, I'll talk about sessions in a second, but there's also a big merch store that is CrimeCon only merch. It's kind of stuff that you can buy on their website online, but they do have lots of other knickknacks and doodads. I posted a video, I can't remember if it was this morning or yesterday, that had, I just sort of went by some of the tables and stuff like that so you can see what was for sale. And they have a huge selection of books written by people who are here attending the convention and facilitating sessions.
Yeah.
And then there's also what they call Creators Row, which is a big, huge exhibit hall where all the podcasters are in there, as well as a bunch of different advocacy groups. And I'll go through some of those people that I've met, as well as you know, people just advertising their entertainment. Othram is there advertising their DNA. I've met lots of great people. So it's, you can basically, they give you a big long schedule. Here's my schedule for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know, it shows you all the different rooms that are available and then everything that's available by the hour on the room. So you can, you know, pick whichever sessions you want to go to, or if you don't want to go to a session, you can just mill around in the exhibit hall and talk to people. And there are all kinds of news celebrities and other type of celebrities. It's funny, when I got in the car this morning in the Uber, my Uber driver said, yeah, I understood there was somebody pretty famous there yesterday. And I was like, you're going to have to be more specific because, you know, what normal celebrities would be like, of course, news anchors that people see all the time are celebrities. But here at CrimeCon, the celebrities are also, you know, family members who are from different cases and attorneys who have worked different cases and, you know, prosecutors and law enforcement people. So, and it's really funny. So yesterday I was walking down to go to the merchandise shop and traffic just came to a standstill. And these hallways are really wide. They're like 30 feet wide. And there was no traffic moving in either direction. And I was like, what is going on up there? Well, it was Colby and Ray Hermosillo standing just off to the side and people stopping, trying to talk to them, get their, you know, pictures taken with them and stuff like that. So that happens from time to time. And, you know, it's always interesting to see, like, who are they stopping to talk to, take pictures with? There are tons of camera crews around here just roaming. And there are easels here where they say, basically, you're subject to being recorded at any time while you're here. And just by reading this sign, you're giving your consent to be recorded and videotaped. So it's a lively, just very active, you know, as I said, thousands of people here. I don't know exactly how many, but it's a lot. There's a lot of people here.
How many of the folks that are attendees are interested in almost the web sleuthing of solving cold cases and crimes and such?
A lot of them are. In fact, there's a T-shirt that CrimeCon sells that says basically a detective. You know, that kind of theme. You know, where people, a lot of amateur sleuths. You know, a lot of people who are just interested in, you know, how cases work and why. And lots of people actually that I've met who are in school to become future law enforcement, forensic technologists, things like that.
Okay.
So it doesn't get too technical. It's not like a conference specifically for law enforcement, but you know, there are a lot of breakout sessions that are really adjacent to that.
Yeah. What kind of topics have you taken for your sessions so far?
Well, I will tell you right out of the bat. So yesterday, Friday, registration opened early in the morning because my flight got in so late on Thursday night. I missed the mix and mingle meet and greet thing, which I talked to Joe Schmo. He was there. Ms. Woozy was there. They had a great time. They got to schmooze with Ray Hermosillo and Denny Politan and other personalities like that. But then Friday morning, registration opened at 9, but there were no sessions until noon. So it, kind of had a lazy morning, got here, got registered. And of course, I'm hanging out with Trisha from Web Sleuths as well as one of her mods. Yeah. And so just had a second to take everything in and see how stuff was. But the very first session that I went to was called Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. I don't know if you guys know Chris Hansen, but he's the guy who does the catch a predator guy. So this is the swag bag that they gave everybody. This is Chris Hansen, and his new show is called Have a Seat. And it's basically where he sets up the sting where somebody thinks they're coming to a house to meet a teenage girl, and he opens the door, and it's him and law enforcement, and they say, have a seat. Have a seat. Let's talk about. Yeah. So his was the first session that I went to, and I thought it was going to be about his show, but it was not. He was facilitating a session that was about the problem of predators finding children on online games, and specifically a game called Roblox. And I'll spell it here. This is a game that my kids play, and now I'm going to have to go back home and put a bunch of security settings on all of their profiles. I just have hey, Joe Schmo, how's it going? I saw that you just finished your live. I hope it went well. What I've always told my kids about social media is keep your profiles private. Don't answer any direct messages from people you don't know, and just be prepared to show me your DMs at any time. And that's kind of worked for us in the past. Just being real open about that. But Roblox is a platform where anybody can go on and create a game for people to play. So they create these little communities that want to play games together. And the featured guest, I forget his name. I'm so sad that I didn't take notes and write down his name, but people who use the platform will know his name. He was sort of a child prodigy on this game as a teenager. He was creating games that were hugely popular. He was just very, very good at what he did. And one of the other creators who was also very popular on the platform sort of took him under his wing and said, let me help you become more successful, but essentially was grooming him the whole time. So unfortunately, this kid became a victim of this predator and, was victimized many times over the course of a long time. And finally, he was able to report it to his mom. His mom got, police involved, thank goodness. But when they contacted Roblox, the platform creators, they basically just blew him off and didn't want to have anything to do with him. So then, he went through his case, went through some healing over that, and then decided he wanted to help make the platform a safer place. So he created some rooms where he could trap predators, very similar to what John Walsh was doing, Chris Hansen. I saw John Walsh's name there in the chat. John Walsh is here. In fact, I think I'm missing his session right now. I missed it. It was about an hour ago, but what was I doing at that time? Finding a bathroom, I think.
For that $4,
that is what I was at. Right, $4 water. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this kid started trapping predators on the Roblox platform and reporting them to Roblox, and Roblox banned him from the platform. At first they said stop doing it. At first he would create a support ticket and report them and say this is inappropriate content. Right. And they just ignored him at first. And then they said stop doing it. Then they sent him a cease and desist order and blocked him from the platform.
Oh my goodness. Who's doing something about that?
Well, yeah. So, if you go out and you Google this and you Google what's going on with Roblox, they will say publicly they're trying to do all of this stuff to make the platform safer.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, what they're doing is not enough. It's a band-aid, basically.
Yeah.
And the really disturbing thing is that there are chat rooms and games in Roblox where you can go. Sorry, it's not a chat room, but it's a game called the bathroom game, where you can create a naked avatar and you can go into these bathrooms and pretend shower with other naked avatars. And so this is a place where predators are coming and they're telling people it's an over 17 only game, but kids can wander in there.
Right.
He highlighted another game that's called Smash or Pass that 5-year-olds can have access to.
Holy cow.
So it's an incredibly harmful place where you can stumble on and see inappropriate content at any point. And so I plan to do an entire deep dive show about this, because part of my advocacy when I first started speaking about my book and my trafficking situation was teaching parents how to avoid their kids being victimized and being groomed by predators. And that goes right along with this.
Right.
Online safety tips for parents of how to figure this out.
There's got to be a happy medium, like a happy medium where kids can play the games, but you can keep them safe.
Right. And what Roblox is talking about doing is implementing a system where they can do better age verification. But, what they're essentially saying is that like 13 and under can't do XYZ. Well, they gave this example of this horrible case that Chris Hansen had worked on or helped with, I guess, where a 13-year-old girl was abducted out of her home because of information she gave out on this platform, and she was trafficked for months and months and months.
And that ruins her life.
Exactly. So this girl was 13 years old. So how is doing identity or verification of age, how is age verification going to help that situation?
Right.
When you're verifying for 13 and up, and you're blocking things from 13 to 17, but there are so many kids who can circumvent ways around it. Yeah. And they were saying one of the ways is they get a hold of their parents' ID and they make a fake account with their parents' information, and then they change the username on it. So Tamsin says they already have age verification on Second Life, which is another create a Second Life thing. So why doesn't Roblox already have it? Absolutely. Right. That's the thing. Here's another really disturbing thing that's happening on that platform is that people who call themselves MAPs or minor attracted persons have gathered in these communities where they know they can get access to victims. And so there's an entire community on Roblox of these MAPs who have created places where they can trade child SA material. And Roblox has a currency on the site called Robux, and people are exchanging child SA material for Robux. And I believe, in my opinion, from what I heard just in this session, I think Roblox is not shutting it down because they take a percentage. So you can buy 100 Robux for $5 or whatever, and 4 of those $5 goes to the platform. And so they don't want to shut it down because their currency is making them a lot of money. It's a revenue source for them. So I agree with you, Kelly J. The technology's out there, so there really is absolutely no excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
And kids are really tech savvy these days. They know how to get around these age verification things. And my kids knew how to make fake Facebook accounts before I even knew my kids wanted to be on Facebook. Back in the day, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So. Exactly, Eliza. Follow the money and see where it goes. And so even just after that first session, I was like, wow, if all of this convention is raising awareness about stuff like this and how to protect and how to prevent, I was like, I'm sold. I love it. Yeah. So that was just my first session.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
I walked out of there just blown away.
Wow.
After that, I went into the exhibit hall. I met some of the exhibitors there. There are a couple of booths that I'm particularly interested to connect with afterwards. One is about helping to bring more awareness to missing Indigenous people. There are literally hundreds of missing Indigenous young girls for the most part.
Yep.
And so it's just heartbreaking that those cases don't get enough attention. Also, missing and murdered people of color, those cases get about 70% of the attention that white people do because of pretty privilege and all of that.
Yeah.
So I made some really good contacts there. In fact, I'll share some of them with you. First, though, I'll share with you what's in my swag bag. This is the CrimeCon swag bag that they gave out to everybody. Kind of funny.
Oh, cool.
There's a booth that is selling bags like this that say allegedly on them. It made me think of Kresha because she loves to say allegedly. I did stop by the Othram booth. For those of you who follow WebSleuths, you know that Othram is an organization that works on DNA profiling and helping people be reunited with their loved ones who have been lost and to identify remains of missing people.
I would have been excited about that booth.
Yeah, so I went by there. There was an Othram sticker in the swag bag. I went by there and talked to them and asked them, how can I bring more awareness to what you guys are doing? And they basically said on their website, they have a list of current cases of things that they're looking for. And they said, when you do your True Crime Tuesday, just highlight those cases. And that's one of the best ways to get the word out there. So I'll be doing that for sure.
That's so great. And they're owned by a husband and wife, a couple.
Yes, I believe that's true. Yeah. Got a sticker from America's Crime Lab, a podcast on iHeartRadio. This is really funny. There's this really cute booth that's called Criminally Obsessed, and it's a makeup booth. And so they're all about, they have a thing where they do makeup and true crime. If you saw my pictures that I posted with all the people I took pictures of, I think her account is called Freedom_Barbie. She does makeup and she's a private investigator, and she does her makeup while she tells you about cases that she can talk about. This is a similar kind of thing where they have all of their products have really funny, interesting true crime type names like criminally crimson red lipstick and stuff like that.
Oh, funny.
So I got this little, it says come for the glam, stay for the crime. And then they do a little podcast. So anyway, the brand is called Criminally Obsessed. There's a little QR code on here. If you want to pause the video and scan the QR code, you can go on there. So I got to meet those girls. They're cool people. And then apparently there's a new thing called The Binge, which is where you can watch. It says feed your true crime obsession. There is a little card they gave with a QR code to check it out for free. I don't really know exactly what it is, but it's a platform that has lots of different true crime type shows on it. So I guess it's a place where you can find it all at once. Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks for this, Nina Canadian, bringing attention to missing and murdered Indigenous women. I saw a film about that, and I can't remember what it was called, with Jeremy Renner in it. And after the film, they had a little commercial about how difficult it is for Indigenous women to get their cases covered. And so that's another thing I'm going to be doing here in the future. So there's lots of little stuff in the swag bag that's just advertisements for different things, different audiobooks and whatever. They just, advertisements. This was interesting. 50 Ways to Catch a Killer coming soon to Fox Nation. And I think this is chocolate in here. I'm gonna open it up and see if it's actually chocolate. It is. It's chocolate coins.
Oh,
which are probably gross, to be honest with you. But I wonder if these are supposed to be like the 50-cent pieces that you take to the underworld. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. It's Roboblux.
Yeah. And then there's all of these true crime podcasts kind of have their own. It says Crime Online podcast hosted by Nancy Grace. And she's gotten together a collection of podcasts like Body Bags. And she's here, of course, as well as the guy who does Body Bags.
That's one I haven't heard of before.
Yeah. And then this is interesting. This is called thegrossroom.com. And this is a platform online that is dedicated to teaching people about autopsy, disease, forensics, and cause of death type stuff. So if you're interested in forensics, that's like a pretty cool thing, apparently.
Very cool.
So that's all that was in my swag bag. But I did go by a billion of booths yesterday and I talked to so many people, and I'm really excited for you guys to get to hear about all the people I'm going to connect with. One of them is called Ring True. They're on Facebook and Instagram as Ring True _co. And these two ladies work with survivors of trafficking, and the survivors create their own jewelry, and then she sells them at CrimeCon and online and at other conventions. So it gives women who have been victimized an opportunity to earn their own money.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
Yeah. Hey, Kresha, how are you? That's right. Smart to CIA. Yeah, so sorry, Jen's is starring comments and questions for me because I'm only a little bit looking at the chat. So anyway, I asked these ladies if I could feature their jewelry on my podcast. And so I'm really excited to partner with them so that I can feature the jewelry that's made by these women who have survived trafficking.
That would be great to support.
That's going to be really cool. The Carpetbagger is a new podcast that talks about this guy who basically defrauded a bunch of people who were trying to do true crime podcasts. So I'm excited to listen to that and figure out what that's all about. Of course, I stopped by Gigi McKelvey's booth, Pretty Lies and Alibis. It was fun to connect with her. And then, let's see, I connected with this lovely lady, Brianne, at The Hiding Place. Their website is thehidingplacepickens.org. Pickens. And this is a place that is a refuge for women suffering from DV. And it gives them all kinds of resources to help them escape and get safe. So I'm going to have them on my podcast. We're going to talk about everything that they're doing to help women in their community. And they are based, I believe, if I remember correctly, they're based in South Carolina, but they have locations all across the nation. So I'm really excited to feature them on the podcast as well.
That's amazing.
Of course, I connected with Mike King. He was here giving a presentation. I missed his because I was watching a different one, but I'm going to connect with him a little bit later. He's been saying forever that he's happy to come on the podcast. I want him to come on and talk about the law enforcement process. We just have not been able to get our schedules to mesh up. We had something scheduled right before the sentencing, and then it just fell through. I also connected with, of course, Court TV. They gave me this cute bracelet. Robin Love, who's one of the producers that I've worked with when I've gone on Vinny's show, connected with her. She gave me her card, and I just have to show you. It's a fingerprint and all of her contact info. Perfect. I thought that was super cool. But we talked about me covering some other cases on Court TV, so I was really excited about that. And then I found a booth that is called the Jason Landry Search Team. There is a man who went missing in Leander, Texas, which is not very far away from where I live. And they actually go once a month and look for his remains. He's been missing for long enough that they're fairly certain that he's not alive anymore, but his parents were there at the booth. I was able to meet and talk to them. I'm probably going to have his father come on the podcast. Again, the missing person's name is Jason Landry. And if you're interested, this is the QR code. Again, you can pause the video and scan the code. If you're interested in going to Leander and helping them search they do it once a month. And they've got an email that is findjasonlandry@gmail.com. So, going through all of the exhibit hall and seeing these booths of all these people who are doing everything that they can to help victims and survivors. That was really heartening to me. if you saw my video that I posted yesterday, there's an entire wall of missing persons. Just missing persons posters. You know, it's probably 7 feet tall and 20 feet long with all of these missing persons, where people can go and leave messages for the loved ones of the people who are searching for their loved ones. And I want to go by there a little bit later and see if there are any that have gone missing that are close to where I am, so that I can see if there's a way that I can help any of those people. Somebody mentioned Duty Ron in the chat. I have connected with Duty Ron. He's a friend of the channel. He was super generous donating to the victims of the Kerrville flooding. And he right now is featuring on his channel, as I said the other day, that September is Self-Harm Prevention Month. And every single day he's posting stories of people who have lost their lives and bringing awareness to self-harm. And I don't know if, Jen, if you have time to search real quick, but I did an episode last year in September with a therapist to talk about how to help family members and loved ones. It's called I Chose to Live. It's my story of how I overcame the ideation of self-harm, trying to be careful about what I talk about, the words that I use. But it also is what you can do if you have a friend or a loved one who is suffering mental health wise and needs support in that area. So it's all throughout the month of September. The number to call is 988. I have texted with them and called them before when I have needed help, and they are just super awesome people. They have excellent resources, excellent people answering the phones over there. And I highly recommend it.
If I don't find it while we're still here on the live, I'll find that link and put it in the comments right
Okay,
after.
perfect.
So
yeah, and if you'll text it to me, I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Okay, perfect.
So Hawkeye's good to see you. Sorry that you're not around to meet up. If you do happen to be at CrimeCon and you're seeing this, I would love to meet up with you. I think that Trisha at Web Sleuth was organizing some kind of a meetup, but I don't know anything about it. We talked about it briefly last night, and I just never found out what time or what place it's going to be at. There is a there's a comedy event happening tonight. There's a comedian here who is actually a survivor, a crime survivor. And I want to pull up, it was fascinating to me. Joe Schmo and Ms. Woozy are going. I don't know yet if I'm going to have time to go tonight, but the comedian his name is Ed Hedges, Ed with 2 Ds. He's a UK-based stand-up comedian who burst onto the comedy scene in 2013 when just at 19 years old, he won the prestigious So You Think You're Funny competition. But this is what it says about his show. From bullied kid to breakout comic, Ed Hedges brings his darkly hilarious, unbelievable true crime story to the stage in Wisecrack, a genre-defying event at CrimeCon. When Hedges returned to his hometown for a charity gig, he didn't realize he'd find himself headlining the most terrifying night of his life, a downward spiral by a former classmate, and a small town shaken by murder, are just the start of an experience that sparked the new hit True Crime podcast. The laughs are real. The danger is no joke. So it sounds kind of cool. I kind of do want to go to it. It just it depends on what else is happening. Who else I'm able to connect with. I may need some downtime by then. By yesterday, by the time I was done with my last session, my brain was full and I was like, I just need a break.
Oh, I can't even imagine. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was actually fun. I was able to have dinner with Miss Woozy and Joe Schmo, and we met 2 true crime enthusiasts who had no idea what they were getting into when they joined us for dinner and started asking questions about my family's case.
Oh, funny.
That was probably more information than they needed to know. But right after I did walk through the exhibit hall yesterday, there was a session in the big room about the Delphi investigation. And it was hosted by my friend, Susan Hendricks of Headline Crime. She had another session today that she hosted with the family survivors of the Delphi case. And we were supposed to connect right after that. And then, life happened. But I will text her after this and see if we can get together. I at least want to get a picture with her. I went on her podcast, Headline Crime, right after Lori's first trial in Arizona. She is an amazing journalist. She's a former CNN anchor and just a beautiful person. So I loved connecting with her. And then I stayed right in my seat because right after the Delphi investigation session was the session on the Daybell case. So it was Detective Hermosillo, it was Colby Ryan, and it was Nate Eaton of East Idaho News. And they had an awesome session. For those of you guys who are interested, there was a lot of information that came out of that session. Where do I begin even with that?
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, so I don't know if it's like available online.
Okay.
Because usually what CrimeCon does is they keep their stuff shut down pretty good. Nobody's allowed to take videos, and they will post videos of the sessions after they happen on their website behind a paywall, basically.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, it makes sense. They're trying to protect their content and their presenters
absolutely.
and creators and everything. But it was a great discussion, a fascinating discussion. I will tell you, Nate revealed that Lori has been in touch with him again, somehow found out that he and Colby were coming to CrimeCon, and said to Nate, if you see Colby, tell him I love him, no matter what, in all caps, and then said that he should reference Matthew 25. And Nate asked Colby what that meant, and Colby said basically it's the chapter that references sifting the wheat from the tares, and basically the good people from the bad people, and the parable of the 10 virgins is in there. So Colby just basically said he thinks that's Lori saying that like she's still on the good side, she's doing what God's telling her to do. And Nate said, do you want to be in touch with her? Do you want to talk to her? He said no. So Nate said, well, let's stop talking about her then,
Right.
So then they did play the first phone call from jail that Colby had with his mom. That was really hard to hear again.
Oh,
yeah. And then I just will never not get emotional when they put the pictures of Tylee and JJ up on the screen. It's just still is always going to be just incredibly sad for me to see them and to think of the end of their lives being so tragic, because really that's, that it's so young. And so like so many people the last couple of days have talked about the lost futures of the people who lose their lives. So that was hard to hear. Colby always does a great job of being very well spoken and speaking just honestly about how he feels about how everything has happened. He talked about the fact that he's so much of a different person now than he was when the case first came out. Of course, he's grown so much over the course of the different cases, the different trials is what I was trying to say. And he really has come a long way, and he's processed a lot. He's done a lot of therapy. He's learned a lot about how to overcome this affecting him in his life. And he's really relying a lot on his wife and his kids. That is really the core of what he's focusing on right now, is just building a beautiful life with them. And, kind of trying to move forward from this. So there was an opportunity at the end of almost every session for people to get up and ask questions. And so I know that you'll be interested to hear that somebody asked Ray Hermosillo if, is the case over? Are there going to be more cases? And he paused for a long moment and he said, I'm happy to say that I can't comment on that. And the place just erupted in applause. And then he also started clapping himself. And then when the applause died down, he said, it's not over for me.
Wow. Well, so
that's all I have to say about that. Because I don't know exactly what that means, but we have talked, and Kresha was the one who said first that, after Brandon's trial was over, the prosecutor, Trina Kay, looked right at Brandon and said, you and I are going to meet and talk about what might be going forward. Yeah. So everybody was very happy to hear that. And then I will tell you that Joe Schmo wins the Comedian of the Year award because he went down to ask a question And he said, my question, so they were seated on the stage, Nate Eaton here, Colby in the middle, and Ray on the other side. And he said, no offense to Nate, but my question is for the guys on the left side of the stage. He said, what is your workout routine? And of course, everybody, I almost lost my whole computer there.
Uh-oh.
Of course, everybody was laughing. They thought that was hilarious. And you know, the guys on stage were laughing. And Nate said, well, I don't know if you watch my channel, but I eat donuts. And laughed and chuckled a little bit. And then, you know, Joe just kind of stood there. And Nate goes, do you have another question? He said, no, I was waiting for an answer. And so, and then he elaborated a little bit and he said, you know, specific muscle groups that you work on specific days. What is the deal with that? So Colby just said, you know, drink your water, eat lots of protein, eat your green vegetables, and, you know, and get your cardio in, basically. Yeah. And then Ray said that, you know, he said, I'm getting too old for that stuff, but he said, I do go to the gym 6 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So, I heard Ms. Woozy got the Grease 1 or Grease 2 question in.
Yeah,
right? So if you follow Colby,
she did.
A very big inside debate with us. So
she did. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that Ray declined to comment. Or no, he did. He actually did commit. He said Grease 1.
Yeah.
And Nate says that, you know, generally sequels are not as good as the original, but, you know, so he had to go with Grease 1 as
middle of the road. No.
Right. But I'm guessing Colby says it's Grease 2.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and he's sticking.
Well, I have to say, if you're a fan of Michelle Pfeiffer, it's a little known fact that one of Michelle Pfeiffer's first films was Grease 2. And there's a motorcycle involved, and that's all I got to say. I mean, it's not it's not cinema, but it's not terrible. Okay, so there's that.
Very nice.
Yeah, so there was probably a lot more in that session. What I can tell you that was weird to me is that at an event like this, CrimeCon, arguably one of the biggest cases in the last many years, it was very clear that there were many people in the audience who didn't know some details.
Really?
Yeah, it was, you know, most people would know that Ray Hermosillo was labeled dark, you know, the right. Prince of Darkness or whatever. But it was interesting to hear the crowd around me audibly gasping or audibly going, oh, when something was talked about. And I was like, okay, I guess there still are people out there who don't know a lot about the case, even at CrimeCon, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, but it was packed. I mean, like I said, probably 1,000. I should ask somebody how many people that room holds, because it was absolutely packed the whole time. I mean, we were in there like sardines.
Oh, wow.
And they do have like a section in the front that's for VIP badges where the seats are a little farther apart. They're a little bit more cushy. And then there's like the gold VIP section where they have like recliner type seats up there in the front.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, those tickets are pretty expensive, but they sell out every single year. Wow. So yeah, I'm just trying to remember, because I didn't, when I got back last night, Trish and I talked a little bit. I didn't want to talk too much with her because I was like, if I unpack all this now, I'm going to forget to say it tomorrow on my live. So anyway, I'm sure that there's stuff that I forgot to say that took place in that session, but it was just really good to see those three guys together. They did a little meet and greet afterwards where people could take pictures with them. And it's very clear that Colby has a ton of support here and lots of people who, you know, care about him and about his experience and his future and everything. And so there were lots of people coming up when they came up to ask the questions. They said, you know, things like your mom might be gone, but you've got lots of mamas and nanas here supporting you, loving you. And that brought a big smile to his face, which I love to see.
Yeah.
It's always really awesome to see him genuinely smile, because, you know, like that's a little ray of sunshine breaking through those clouds. And I see it more and more often now. So I'm happy to see that.
For sure.
So after that session, I did go over to the meet and greet because Joe Schmo wanted to go get a picture with all three of them, but I didn't get in line. I just went with Miss Woozy to the exhibit hall and showed her some of the stuff that I had seen. And then Court TV was on, and we had heard that they were going to interview Colby. So we went over and stood where they were doing Court TV live in one of the breakout rooms. But it was all about the Adelson case. And they were covering the verdict and all of that. And so we were like, well, and I said, I know Court TV is an hour-long show. Vinnie Politan Investigates is an hour-long show because I've been on it several times. And I said, I don't really want to stand here and listen to Adelson. So let's go get something to eat. So we did. And then we found out later they did a 2-hour show. Oh. And Colby was in the second half of that show.
Yeah.
So anyway, the little clip that Vinnie Politan caught of me was about midway through that. And if I can find it,
I have it pulled up actually.
Oh,
I was watching it right before we came on. So I'll link it there.
It was so funny because I ran into Vinny when he was going around just doing a live for his personal channel. And I didn't realize he was on a live. So I just tapped him on the shoulder and he turned around and he said, Megan Connor. He said, I'm live. Do you mind if you're on? And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. And he we exchanged pleasantries. And then he said, I just want everyone to know, Vinnie Politan said, you do great work. So that's all I have to say. But then when I ran into him in the exhibit hall, they had the big camera with him. He had his big microphone and he is a close talker. If you don't know, he walked right up to me and was like right here. And you can see in the video that I'm just like a little bit trying to back away because I was like, do I have bad breath?
Oh, how funny.
Stuck the microphone right in my face. Kelly J, I haven't seen Joel and Surviving the Survivor. I thought they were coming. It seems like they always come to CrimeCon, but I know he just finished covering the Adelson case and had been away from his family, so he may just have decided not to come. Oh, have fun, Crusha. Make sure you stay hydrated. So while you're pulling that up, Jen.
I put it in. I did put the link for that in chat.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it through here in StreamYard too.
I was going to say, can you just present? You can click the present button and you can share your screen if you have it pulled up on another tab.
Oh, yeah, I do, but I don't have it to the right part.
Oh, okay. I know where it is. So if actually let me do it because then I can control which part it goes to.
Okay.
Let me go back and find. I don't think I can click on the link. Can you put it in the private chat? And that way I think I can click on it.
Yep. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, look at that. It just came up right at the right minute mark, I think.
Maybe I was just getting to it.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Joe.
Okay, so this was a clip that he found me in the exhibit hall earlier in the day, and they put this clip on during the live show. And so this is where it came up to. Might take a second.
This is a loaded question for you. Lori Daybell, what are your thoughts of her?
I'm glad that her cases are over. I'm excited about a Lori-free future. We have no litigation on the horizon to look forward to. And, I didn't even watch the video of her extradition that you guys posted until a week after because I really just didn't care. And once I did watch it, it was, her histrionics again, breathing the fresh air and pretending to just be everything's wonderful and hunky-dory.
Tell us all from the inside one thing about Lori Daybell that the public doesn't really know.
She's deeply, deeply insecure. So I don't know if you guys caught it, but if you watch Vinny's mouth, I said that and then he nodded at me like he was expecting me to say it, and then he went, oh. like he was surprised that that's what I said. So I'm going to back up just a little so you can see it.
It's so true, though. So true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nailed it. Literally.
As Megan Connor, Lori Daybell's cousin.
Sorry, Jen. What was that?
I was just going to say you literally nailed it on that one. And that is that she comes across so confident, but you know it's all a mask.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that people don't think about very often is the people often who present themselves as very charming and very happy, very put together. When they're manipulative people, a lot of times that is just a mask for how insecure they are. And I was kind of proud of myself for coming up with that on the fly, because I literally, I was walking through the exhibit hall and turned this way, and all of a sudden there was Vinny. So I had no preparation for that at all. But see if you can watch. She's deeply, deeply insecure.
As Megan Connor, Lori.
He said, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at, you got Ray right there in the background.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, they were just out there in the exhibit hall, doing this live as people were passing by. And there's Ray right there. And then he went on to talk with Colby and Nate as well. I'll just mute it for a second so you can kind of see. They had the guests that are to Vinny's right, sitting in chairs right there. And you can see a guy with a microphone. They're ready to take questions from the audience. So I haven't watched the whole thing of that because I haven't had time yet. But I'll be interested to see what the interview was like.
Yeah. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of great guests that you're going to be able to bring on the show over the next few weeks or months or what have you. So that's
definitely. Yeah, definitely. And that's why, ultimately I decided to go, is because I knew that the networking of it and, getting to know other creators was going to be valuable. Yeah. And so I'm really glad that, that I made the decision to come. Yeah. I just lost all the comments. So, there they go. Okay. For some reason, when I switched the screen, I was like, there's no more comments. Sorry. So yeah, what's coming up actually I should talk about this morning. I should talk about last night. Actually, after we had dinner, we went into the hotel bar and it was just packed with everybody. You probably saw, I posted all those pictures of the women that I hung out with. Ashley Banfield was doing a session of her podcast, Drop Dead Serious, from right there in the bar.
I love her show.
I do too. She's awesome. She's one of my heroes. A strong, smart, beautiful woman. Yes. And she was doing her podcast from right there. People sitting right there at the table next to her, having drinks, doing her podcast.
That's awesome.
Thanks for this, Joe Tall Chief. I appreciate that. It means a lot. But yeah, it was, Ray was there in the bar, lots of other podcaster friends and producers. That's where I was finally able to meet up with Lauren and Grayson. I was really glad to spend some time with them last night. The families of the Delphi survivors were there, as well as Gabby Petito's dad was there.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Lauren was standing there, had met them, had talked to them. When I walked up, she said, "You should go over and say hi." And I probably should have. But I just felt weird about it last night. But then this morning, they were there in a panel and they were saying like they so appreciate it when people who also have experienced tragedies, actual family tragedies, come up, because it's a small group of people who really understand what that feels like. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, last night a lot, actually, how it's an even weirder thing to be the family member of someone who perpetrated the crime. Right. Because, everybody understands, empathizing with the victims. But when your family members are victims and perpetrators, it's that's a little bit different.
Unique. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it does feel a little bit weird and isolating to be in that position. But but I do love the community. So I regret not going up and talking to them and at least saying, like, I know somewhat what it feels like to be in that position. But yeah, it was a good time to just relax and blow off steam. went back to the hotel, decompressed with Trisha a little bit. And if you've listened to Trisha on Websleuth at all, you know how passionate she is about talking about the JonBenet Ramsey case.
Yes,
That
she
is
did not
her.
let it. Yeah.
She will not let it go. And it's one of the reasons she has partnered with Othram, is because there's this little bit of a DNA controversy surrounding the JonBenet Ramsey case. Now, I can tell you, I know about this much about that case, but I will say it's the only true crime case that I cared about before my family stuff started happening, because it happened on Christmas Day of 1996. I had a young daughter that was a little bit younger than JonBenet, but it was such a compelling case because I saw this mother-daughter dynamic of the pageant mom thing. And I saw a lot of her mom's traits were my mom's traits in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
And so it was the only true crime thing that I ever paid any attention to. So I knew some of the details of the case. And part of the reason it stuck with me is because it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not really ready, of course, to talk about any of my opinions regarding the case because I don't know enough yet. I have formed some opinions, but I don't know yet if they are based in facts and evidence or based in what I've heard. So you know how I am. I want receipts.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
So I'm going to do some digging. But that was the first session that I went to this morning, was John Ramsey coming on stage.
Okay.
And so I talked with Trisha a little bit last night. I know very clearly what her opinions are. And I will tell you, Trisha will die on this hill. There was no intruder, and Patsy wrote the note. So for the people who don't know about the case, JonBenet was only 7. Is that how old she was at the time? Her parents had been at a Christmas party, and according to Patsy Ramsey, they came home from the party, found this ransom note that was like 2 or 3 pages long, demanding $118,000, which was the exact same number that John Ramsey had received for his Christmas bonus. And JonBenet was missing. They called police and later found JonBenet in the basement of the home. There was a broken window, but John Ramsey had said that he was the one who had broken it before. So they were all about some intruder came in and killed JonBenet. And there was a garrote wire that was found, in other words, like a strangulation method. And the official coroner's report that came out immediately after her death was strangulation with a possible contributing factor of a skull fracture.
Oh my gosh.
Since then, there's been a lot of controversy over which came first. There's been a lot of controversy over the fact that there's a DNA sample that's been unidentified. Both John and Patsy Ramsey submitted their DNA samples. They were indicted by a grand jury, but they were eventually cleared. And then there's the other little issue that JonBenet had pineapple in her stomach, which is one of those quick digesting foods. So she had to have been killed within about an hour or so of eating that pineapple. The bowl for the pineapple had Patsy's fingerprints on it. And there's the other complication that they have a son who was also in the house at the time. The Ramseys also, unfortunately, called neighbors, and neighbors came into the house before police were able to seal things off for evidence. So we have a potential contaminated crime scene.
Right.
So I just want to read to you the blurb that is in the CrimeCon magazine that they gave us about the cases. Let's see, Saturday. Oh, that's too late. I have to go back. It is Saturday, right?
Yes, it is all day. Although I did think it was Sunday already. So,
it's really interesting. They don't have a recap of the JonBenet case, which is weird because they have this section called Spotlight on Case Files, and they've got the Daybell case. They've got the prosecution of Susan Smith. They've got the vanishing of Relisha Rudd, which is a cold case by the Black and Missing Foundation, which is another group I talked to yesterday. about calling more attention to people of color who are missing or murdered. But they don't have JonBenet in here, so I find that really interesting. Now, there was a documentary that came out in November of last year on Netflix, and it made Trisha absolutely go insane. She was so angry about it because it seemed like it was just basically butt kissing John Ramsey, and just going with the narrative that he believed. I will tell you, I sat in that session this morning and I took as detailed notes as I possibly could. I have a lot of questions. Let's just put it that way. I have a lot of questions. The panel was, and that's why one of the reasons I wanted to look it up is because I wanted to see who was leading the panel. I recognized her as a news personality, but I didn't know exactly who she was. And then it was John Ramsey and John Ramsey's attorney. Now, this case, of course, 29 years ago. And since then, Patsy Ramsey has passed away. She had ovarian cancer. And so that's an added little layer of this. But I took several pages of notes and I have a lot of questions. I'm going to be digging into it. And actually, I think what would be a really interesting thing to do would be for me to sit down with Trisha before we leave CrimeCon, tell her everything that came out in that session and just get some of my questions answered. So
that'd be great to watch. Yeah.
She knows way more about this case than I do. And then a lot of people, she actually introduced me yesterday to an investigator that wrote a book about the case, basically giving an opinion that is an alternate thing to what John Ramsey has been saying. So, it's going to be, I have some real interesting conversations to have before I leave so that I can unpack everything that I've learned. So after that session, again, there was the Delphi session with the family survivors hosted by my friend, Susan Hendricks from Headline Crime. And it was emotional, definitely to hear them talk about their girls and how close they were, and talking about the case and how small of a town Delphi is. I don't think a lot of people realize it's like 200 or 300 people in this town. Everybody knows each other.
Right.
And one of the things they were talking about is how everybody had an opinion on who it was. And they came to CrimeCon several years in a row because the case went unsolved for so long, trying to look for anybody who had any information. And I understand one of the roadblocks was that the sketch that was done was not accurate. Right. In fact, Joe Schmo leaned over to me at one point, and Richard Allen, the guy who was convicted, worked at CVS in the town. And Joe Schmo told me that he has a picture of Richard Allen behind the cash register at CVS with the drawing behind him.
Oh my goodness.
Of the person that they were looking for. So that's how inaccurate it was and how long it took them to figure out who it actually was.
Has there been anyone there, or was there a session on anything with the Ruby, Frankie, and Jody?
No, surprisingly, there wasn't. I didn't see anything, and I combed through the schedule pretty well, because when I first started looking at it, I was overwhelmed, and I'm like, how do I even make a decision about what to go to? For example, the very first session on Friday, there was Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. Right next door, Luigi Mangione, Manifesto Manhunt and Moral Divide.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, in another breakout session, was active shooter responses and how to deal with those.
Right.
At the same time was Ice Cold Case and Affirmative Murder podcast in the Creator Studio. So it's like, how do I even pick which things to go to?
Right.
So a lot of times I sort of defaulted to either I was in a good seat in a place, or other people were going to that session, or someone saved me a seat or whatever. So the last session I went to today before I came up to try and find a podcast spot was the session about Susan Smith. I'm trying to find it here. It is Saturday, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to confirm, because Thursday was a whirlwind. I still haven't gotten to unpack everything that happened in such a short space of time.
Right, with the verdict.
The wrapping up of the Adelson verdict. It was like I was, like I said on the live stream the other day, I was only about halfway through my snark for the defense attorneys when we had a verdict come in. And I didn't expect that at all because I thought they're going to go home. Nope. And then it was like, boom, verdict immediately. And then boom, impact statements. And then like my plane was delayed. It was like,
you have to race to the airport.
Yeah. So I still haven't gotten all my thoughts out about that. That's going to be coming when I get back home, when I have a chance to just, decompress a little.
Yeah.
And then ever since I've been here, it's just been go, 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 meet, talk, read, learn. It's just been a whirlwind. But the session I went to was called The Prosecution of Susan Smith, and it was the prosecutor who tried that case. He was hilarious, by the way. He did an excellent presentation on that. And the reason I cared about that case is because she came up for parole recently. This was the South Carolina mother whose 2 children disappeared. She claimed that she'd been carjacked, and she gave even a description of an African-American man. She went on TV talking about how he carjacked her and then stopped the car in the middle of the road and told her to get out. And she said, "Can I take my children?" And he said, "I don't have time for that," and then sped off. That's what she told law enforcement. And for 9 days, the whole community was looking for this man, looking for the children. And ultimately, unfortunately, they were found at the bottom of a lake. She had gotten out and, pushed the car, and she was prosecuted. Now, I think, hey, Joe Neal, we ran out of time actually during that session because I never got to hear why and how the death penalty was taken off the table, because she was only convicted to 30 years in prison. I think it had something to do with her mental health. She was competent to stand trial, but she also was having ideation of self-harm. I actually was able to take a picture of the screen when she put up, detectives told her to not, they weren't asking her to write a confession, but they just asked her to write how she was feeling. And I was able to take a picture of the screen, and I'll do a little Susan Smith case recap thing after I get some of my questions answered. But
I think
she came up for.
I think that was the first case I followed ever. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously back then it was in the news, and on television and on papers and whatnot. But
yeah, it was very widely publicized, and that's one of the things that the prosecutor talked about is that, prior to the OJ case, really, people didn't follow true crime the way that they do today. Hey, Ms. Woozy, how you doing? We've been hanging out a lot, actually. She's so much fun to hang out with. Thank you so much, Peace Seeker, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. But yeah, that was one of the things he was saying is, the OJ case kind of blew up true crime. People followed it. I remember where I was when the OJ verdict was read, just because I was working in an office and they literally wheeled a TV out into the lobby, and everybody from the office stopped their work and went out there and gathered to watch the verdict. It was the weirdest thing, but we'd all been following it. We were all invested in it. But this case happened shortly after that. And he said, his small town, it wasn't as small as Delphi, obviously, but people descended on the town. And lots of the merchants in the area were saying that they were looking forward to the boom in the city that was going to come of people coming in for the case. He said there were news trucks everywhere set up on the steps of the courthouse. And so for him, it was a big deal. He got interviewed by Oprah. He went on all of these different shows. And so it was a very high profile case people were focused on. And basically, there was that element of the fact that Susan Smith's mental health was in question. And I heard some things today that I did not know before about how he really tried to put it delicately, where he said that, it turned out that Susan Smith had spent the night with one of the, I don't know, like the city officials or something like that. And he said, I'll be delicate. It turns out she spent the night with a lot of people. So when I present this case, I will share all of those things with you, but it's a lot to dig into right now. But anyway, it was fascinating to hear the actual prosecutor talk about how how difficult that was to prosecute a high profile case, and the pressure that he got from different places, and the character assassination that he endured doing that. And so it basically was like, depending on the day or which way the wind was blowing was what the news people would say, whether he was doing a good job or not.
Wow.
So anyway, Joe Neal, you got blocked from where? I can't imagine anybody blocking you from anywhere. Somebody else in chat was asking, oh, Emily Flotilla's here. I'm upstairs. I don't know where to tell you upstairs because I just chose a random place, but I'm at the top of the escalator somewhere. There were these two guys that came and sat down next to me right before I went live, and they were like, is it okay if we share the sofa with you? Because it's a big sofa. I said, yeah, if you don't mind me blabbing on my podcast for an hour. So they went and subscribed, but then they left. So I don't know if they saw some of it and were like, this is not for me.
Oh, funny. Well,
so yeah, and there was a session with Marsha Clark, who prosecuted the O.J. Simpson case. And I was sad to miss that one, but it was happening. It happened right after the, it was happening at the same time as Susan Smith, I think. No, it wasn't. When was it? I just want to get this right for my own personal knowledge. Yeah, it was at 3:00. So I was over here blabbing when I could have been listening to Marsha Clark, who also, by the way, I admire her a great deal. Hey, Emily,
that was not.
I'm upstairs by the escalator, Emily. Sorry about that, Jen. I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I just am saying for Marsha Clark, that wasn't an easy part for her career. I mean, overall.
Right. And she was one of the first people, I think, that I noticed as a young woman. Here is a super brilliant, competent, smart woman who's doing her job, and all people could talk about was her hair and her lipstick. And it made me so angry. Yeah. It was like, what about talking about how smart she is, or what a good job she's doing, or what a hard job she has, to be this woman in the spotlight. And I can tell you, it hasn't, it hasn't gotten any better. I've talked with other women podcasters about this, and in fact, talked to Joe Schmo about this last night, and had to do a little bit of a hey Joe, on this, because it doesn't matter what I'm talking about or what I say or do. Hey guys, how are you? Good. I'm always going to get comments about my appearance, which don't bother me, by the way. I really don't care what people think about what I look like, because I like the way I look. So whatever. Right. But I will constantly get comments and suggestions about what I should be doing with my hair or my makeup or my face or my body or whatever. And, Joe made a comment, and Joe, if you're out there listening, I'm not doing this to shame you at all. It's just the way people think. He made a comment about someone's skirt being really short in court. And I happened to be wearing a skirt yesterday that came just above my knees. And I said, yeah, but look at this. I'm standing up. It's above my knees. I'm sitting down. It's way higher. This is what we deal with as women. It's either too short or too long, or it's too low or not low enough. And so instead, I would love to hear people change the conversation away from that and change it more to the content and the intellect and, all of that. So the actual vehicle was a white Bronco, if you're still talking about the O.J. Simpson case. So I want to I want to answer a couple of questions. I don't know why I'm going through chat, because you've been doing it, Jen.
Yep, I have some started.
But I missed the couple that I had circled for this afternoon. It's almost 4:00. That's why more and more people are coming by, because they're going to the next session. But strangely, I don't have anything. Oh, there's a meet and greet with Marsha Clark. I could go get my picture taken with her.
Ooh, do that.
If the line's not too long. But last night at Colby's meet and greet, the line monitors did say, we don't want you to spend too much time with the creator. Just take your picture and move on.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lindsay, is that you? These ladies that we were talking with last night just passed by to say hi. That's who I was saying hi to, where we had that conversation about the case and about appearances and clothes and whatever. So I'm just looking to see what else. Marsha Clark, and then there's a, hey, Miss Woozy. Do you want to come say hi to the people?
Yes.
Here's
I want to
Miss
show my
Woozy.
hat because I just got it.
Oh, she allegedly got a hat.
Allegedly. Cannot be confirmed nor denied. I'm heading down to the victim impact statement thing.
Oh,
it starts
okay.
at 3. So
Okay, cool.
Wanted to let you
You
know.
mean at 4?
Wait.
It's 4.
Okay, let me check.
Oh, no, wait. My computer says 4 because it's on Central Time. It's 3 p.m. Okay,
Yes.
thanks for reminding me. So I didn't miss Marsha Clark. I could go to Marsha Clark right now.
You better go.
Wait, when is Marshall Clark?
Is it 3 o'clock right now for real?
It is.
It is. It's 3 o'clock. I could go to Marsha Clark. Well, I want to answer a couple questions, whatever comments you have starred, and then I'll go down there and find. I'm sure I can find a seat.
I gotta find the one that I was going to.
Okay, so did I already say this? Oh, thanks, Mina Canadian. I'm glad you guys are here. I love this community. You guys are awesome. The missing case of Lily and Jack. I do not know about that one. Oh, the meet and greet's at 4, but her session is right now. She's presenting right now in the big hall.
Oh,
at 3.
so she's doing the big hall thing, and Colby's doing the creator studio. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll get out of your hair. I'm gonna go
Okay.
see Colby
Good
and
to
cry
see
my
you.
eyes out.
Okay, I know it's gonna be emotional.
Love you guys.
I love
She's
it.
been so fun to hang out with. Okay, so I don't know about Lily and Jack, but if anybody wants to email me about it, like as always, if there's a case you are interested in, want me to comment on, please email me. I can't always promise that I'm going to cover it because I do have my own list about 25 miles long. So, but I do look up synopses of the cases because that's how I choose what to work on is, what resonates with me, what I'm interested in. A lot of times what's not being covered or what's not being talked about, or especially if there's a family angle or a mental health angle that I can go towards, those are the things that I feel qualified to talk about.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead and keep starring comments too, because I can't see the chat right now while I'm looking at these starred ones.
Right.
Tasman says, I'm really looking forward to all the upcoming guests on your podcast. So exciting you making these contacts if you consider Judy Ron and Ed Wallace. Absolutely. In fact, I reached out to Judy Ron and said that I definitely want to talk about the September self-harm awareness month. And so maybe he and I can have a show about that. So I'll probably text or email him, after this, and I'll just make myself a note because the biggest lie I ever told myself, I'll remember.
Yeah. It
So,
looks like Jack and Lily are a case missing from Nova Scotia up in Canada.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nova Scotia. All right. Well, I will look into that. China Clay says, Kiplin Davis is on the wall, been missing for 30 years. Many believe this case could be solved. Please do an episode on her. Okay, I'll go look on the wall. I don't know if they have them organized by location or alphabet or age of case or whatever, but I will go look and see if I can find it at least. And then Kelly J says, Megan should do an episode on the Steve Kosher case, missing young LDS man, very mysterious disappearance in Las Vegas. He lived in Utah too. How old is that case, Kelly J? That's what I'm interested in, so that I know how much info there is out there on it. But I will write that on my list as well. Thank you. Appreciate you. And Las Vegas works because if I should happen to need to do some on-location work, Kiki lives there, as well as Laura Matthias. So we could do a collab. Love always says, I would be so tongue-tied to talk to Vinny. I'm not going to lie. He's a very attractive man. He really is. And he has a personality to match it. Although I do have to say, I've never had a conversation with him when he was off camera. So I will put that out there. I would love to have a conversation with him off camera, Vinny. If you're watching, let's grab a drink. Just call me Kim, says Kresha's mom. Kresha, moms can be hard to figure out. Yes, moms are difficult. And the thing that I had to remind myself of is that my mom is a human being who is going through her own stuff and came from her own difficult background. And so I have to have a lot of grace for the fact that it's really hard. None of us are perfect moms. We're all going to screw it up somehow. And we all do the best that we can. Most of us do anyway, with what we have. And I think, though, that, you know, giving my mom some grace to be a human being has helped me to not feel as much hurt over the things that happened in my own life. So
Yeah.
pardon me for a moment for Lip Boss. Hi. How's it going? Rachel Fracker says Travis Decker is still missing. I have heard a little bit about that case, but admittedly, I don't know enough about it. But that's one I'll put on my list to at least look into the synopsis so that I know what to do. Danny Hull says I can share Gavin Fish info. He's been following Jack and Lily the first day they were looking for them. Yeah, go ahead and email me.
I like his stuff.
Okay, here's my email. If you want to email me, you're more than welcome to. I'm just giggling a little bit because one of my banners is this one.
Perfect.
I love that Wheel of Fortune clip. And when I do my unpack of the recap of what happened on Thursday, I'll definitely be showing that clip again. Going back to comments here. Thank you guys so much for your kindness and support, and for asking great questions, and for, you know, putting me on cases I don't know about, because I literally don't watch the news. Oh, that's why I know Travis Decker. That's right. That's why I know about that case. Yeah, I remember now. Kelly J, my daughter's choir teacher, is the aunt to Travis Decker here in Arizona. That's just a crazy connection. Put me in touch, because choir teacher to choir teacher.
Yeah.
I would love to interview. Yeah, thanks so much for giving the episode a like, and consider being a member. It is fun. And also we do some fun stuff on Patreon as well. And there is free stuff on Patreon as well. So, okay. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Do you have any other questions, Jen?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to hear all the tea, and I feel like I could sort of be there and we could enjoy it with you. So
yeah, it's been great so far, and very unexpectedly so. I'm not only thrilled and excited, I'm delighted. It's just been wonderful, and there's more to come. There's a whole day, well, at least 2/3 of a day tomorrow of more stuff, as well as this afternoon and this evening. So I'll have to let you guys know if I decide to go to the comedy show or not.
Yeah, let us know how that is.
Yes, there's always bourbon in my future, Joe Neal, sometime in the future. So fun to see you guys. Thanks for joining me for the live. Share it with anybody that you know who would love to see it. And as always, please, beautiful humans, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.